A very warm welcome back to the second day of the 2026 Stellenbosch International Chamber Music Festival, coming to you as always live from outside the Enele Concert Hall in Stellenbosch, South Africa. Perhaps like me, you still have echoes of last night's opening concert ringing in your ears, or maybe you're still trying to decide which movements of Philip Glass's American Four Seasons represented spring, summer, autumn and winter. Whatever the case, thank you for joining us again for another evening of what we like to call chamber music magic. Now, if opening night is all about anticipation, then day two of this festival is really when we start to find our rhythm. Rehearsal rooms throughout the conserve have been alive with music since early this morning. Faculty artists have been coaching student ensembles, and visitors to the festival have already enjoyed performances by two of our invited guest ensembles. Last night's opening concert was a wonderful reminder of what makes these faculty concerts at the SICMF so special, placing music from our own time alongside great masterpieces from the past, allowing one to illuminate the other. We heard two South African premiers, welcomed two conductors, one of whom made their SICMF debut, and concluded with one of the most vivid examples of musical storytelling ever composed, replete with a guest appearance or two from Figure of Eight Dance Theatre. Now, if there was one performer who embodied the spirit of our opening concert, it was undoubtedly violinist Daniel Rowland. Let's revisit the third movement from last night's South African premiere of Philip Glass's second violin concerto, his American Four Seasons. Now, one of the most remarkable aspects of the SICMF is that while we celebrate internationally renowned artists like Daniel Rowland on the stage most evenings, this festival ultimately exists for the hundreds of young musicians who spend 10 extraordinary days here rehearsing, performing, learning, and building friendships that often last a lifetime. And so this evening I thought it appropriate to speak to someone at the very heart of the SICMF experience, one of our student participants, a regular at this festival, cellist Ethan Lawson. Ethan, welcome.
Thank you.
I believe you've dashed straight in from a rehearsal.
Yes. Yeah, having a lot of fun though. So.
Yeah. Shostakovich.
Yes, quintet. Yeah, first and second movements. I wish we had more time to work on the rest, but it could have been cool.
And have you been working with any of the faculty artists yet?
Not yet. We have our first coaching tomorrow with Miklin, and then Emmanuel Ivanov as well the day after that. So, but looking forward to it. They always provide such valuable insight because I mean they've probably played these pieces a bunch of times. So that helps.
And you'll perform that then as part of one of the student ensemble concerts?
At the end of the week.
At the end of the week, okay, excellent. You mentioned you haven't played it before, but are you able to draw on other experience to approach the work, or has it been quite a sort of large adjustment?
I've spent 3 years focusing on Shostakovich cello concerto a lot, so the character, I mean the cello concerto is a different time of his life and a different atmosphere, but he's still Shostakovich and you can feel it, through the notes and the way the harmonies clash but resolve in its own weird way. It's amazing. I love him.
Well, of course, we had your teacher, Peter Martens, playing the Shostakovich cello concerto just a few months ago with the Cape Town Philharmonic Orchestra. And then speaking of cello concertos, Maya Bogdanovic, who played it last year at the SICMF, I mean, you got to spend some time with her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
I wanted to chip in there because it's so funny. I realized I was at the Stift Festival in Weerselo with Maya and Daniel. On the exact night that Peter was playing Shostakovich, there was a showcase, and I was like, I guess I'll play Shostakovich. And then I realized Peter was playing it at the exact same time, so that was quite funny.
Amazing kind of alignment of time there. But maybe just to bring you up to date, so last year for the 20th SICMF, there were 5 travel scholarships awarded, and you were given the one. So tell us all, what was that experience like?
Still crazy.
Overwhelming, intimidating. How was it?
It was insane. Like I can't put it into words, but being able to experience the European culture. I've always had this thing in my head that they've got more skill because of their heritage or something, where they come from. But it's about how hard you apply yourself and dedicate yourself to the music. And we live in a day and age where you can go on YouTube and listen to 20 different recordings, so no one's really at a disadvantage if you apply yourself. So that was a big eye-opener. But wow, the places I saw, the people I saw perform, I saw Sol Gabetta and Augustine Haderlich, and it's just like different caliber completely.
How long were you there for?
For a month.
A month,
it was incredible. I auditioned at a few places as well, so that good experience. All thanks to the festival and Peter and everyone else, so thank you.
Did you have a lot of one-on-one time with Maya working on particular pieces?
Prepping for the auditions for the universities. And, Schubert, Shostakovich, Bach, Solimar, good stuff.
Any particular lessons or learnings that sort of distilled for you or that you were able to take away?
Schubert Arpeggione Sonata, she was talking about bending the meter and then bouncing it back, and there's such a wonderful nuance. I see Daniel do it often. If he plays a little over the bar line, but then it almost catches up, but not in a hasty way. It's like a very natural, virtuosic. It's a really cool perspective to think in phrases, and I bend this one and then the next one I can, compensate and then not fall on the beat anyway.
Because so much of musical expression, there's that tension, isn't there, between honouring what's there on the score, but you also want to play with it. That's why we call it playing music, of course. Exactly, expressing it in a way that feels authentic to you.
So true. I can't imagine life without music, man. And the reason I started studying was because of this festival, for example. So like that bursary experience to go overseas, it's just insane. I can't believe it happened. It's changed my life.
But it's really set you even more firmly on this track of wanting to become a professional musician.
Exactly. Yeah.
You mentioned to me just before we went on air, a very exciting study opportunity has come up. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I got accepted to study a master's degree with David Cohen in Belgium. This would be 2 years unless I specialized, then it would be 3. But yeah, money is still something we're working on. But yeah, hopefully, if I get it by the end of, I think, mid-August, then I should be studying in September already. So yeah.
And for those who out there watching who may have deep pockets and wish to make a contribution, how could they do that?
Could be great.
Do you have a backer buddy?
I do. Yeah, it's on my Facebook if you have money lying around somewhere. But yeah, would appreciate it.
But I mean, Ethan, that's just and congratulations. It's just the latest in a string of accolades and prizes. You won the instrumental classical category of the Fine Music Radio Bursary Trust Awards last year. What did you play for that?
I think I played the Shostakovich Concerto first movement, the first concerto.
Because you played the Elgar previously,
yes,
the first
yes.
movement. Yes.
Yeah. And then Nathan, who's now the festival director, he took that with another lovely piece he played. But,
I remember that.
Good friends, no hard feelings, he deserved it. Anyway.
But quite special to then reflect on how all these components of the musical ecosystem in Cape Town are so interconnected. Cape Town and Stellenbosch, of course, broadly, and here in the Western Cape, South Africa, and then globally, as you mentioned. That month with Maya, was there anything you found particularly surprising or unexpected?
I think their lifestyle, to be honest. Like, it really settles in your brain. You realize, oh my word, they travel every week. Like, Daniel got back from Maya performed St. Saëns in America, and then she and Daniel land. Daniel sleeps for 2 hours. He goes to London, takes the train to teach for 2 days, and then he comes back, and then they leave for Stellenbosch. And it's like,
and how do you feel about that? Do you think that's a lifestyle you could manage or handle?
So
it sounds
adventurous,
exhausting.
man. I would
and of course,
love
they
it.
have 2 daughters as well. How do they? It's incredible.
Yeah, no, I really commend them for how they manage their life. It's really, I can't imagine like doing it, but I would love to try one day. But yeah.
And other strings to your musical bow. I mean, you've had some opportunities to teach yourself, mentor younger musicians. Have you tried your hand at any composing or arranging?
Actually, funny enough, I started 2 weeks ago officially, but it's not good yet. I think it takes time to learn how to. I improvise, right? That's my form of composition. So it takes time to actually improvise enough to be like, okay, I can record this recurs a lot, and then transfer it to paper and manipulate it a bit so it's playable, you know. Yeah, so it's a skill, but yeah, it takes a lot of doing.
Ethan, this is your which SICMF now? Which number?
Number 8.
Number 8, incredible. Anything, we saw you on the stage yesterday, of course, and anything else besides your own Shostakovich later this week, the quintet, anything else that you're looking forward to
Definitely
participating in?
Oh,
really?
Mahler
Okay,
one
gosh.
is going to be awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. Have you played in that before?
No.
Right.
And the Schnittke concerto that David's playing, that's going to be insane.
Oh,
on
fantastic.
Friday, I think.
Right, yeah. Excellent.
awesome.
So lots to look forward to. Well, thank you for doing what you do to support this festival and sort of pay it on in a way as well.
It's really easy. I mean, these people pave the way. You just kind of make music and gradually get better. So yeah, thank you.
Enjoy the rest, the 8 and a quarter days remaining. And,
thanks.
Thanks for making time, Ethan Lawson.
Of course, thank you.
Let's revisit another extraordinary moment from last night's opening faculty concert. This is the beginning now of Ravel's La Valse, elegant but also somewhat volatile. Well, it's been a full day here at the SICMF for day 2. Earlier today, audiences enjoyed performances by the Chikitsi Social Project from Maputo in Mozambique, as well as the Cordelia Quartet from the Royal College of Music in London. And across the Conserve, rehearsals continue even later into the evening as students and faculty artists prepare for the concerts that are still to come over the next week. One of the things that continues to inspire about this festival is its extraordinary diversity. Musicians from more than 20 countries, hundreds of students, a program spanning over 2 centuries of musical history, all taking place right here in Stellenbosch. Now tonight's faculty concert presents another of those quintessentially SICMF programs, bringing together music from the classical, contemporary and romantic periods. We begin with one of Mozart's own favorite compositions, his Quintet for Piano and Winds, K452. Mozart wrote to his father after completing this work that he considered it to be the best thing I have yet written in my life. A bold claim from a composer who, at that age, had already written quite a few masterpieces. After that, we leap more than 2 centuries into the future for another South African premiere, Fazl Say's Space Jump. Now that piece was written in 2013. It depicts the extraordinary parachute jump undertaken by Felix Baumgartner from the edge of space. And then after the interval comes one of the great emotional landmarks of the Romantic chamber repertoire, the Piano Quintet in F minor by César Franck, a work of such intensity and passion that its infuriated dedicatee, Saint-Saëns, reportedly left the score sitting on the piano after the premiere rather than taking it home with him. And so while I head inside the Endler Hall, let's relive the spectacular finale to last night's opening concert, The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas. And welcome back to the Endler Hall for the second faculty concert of the 2026 SICMF, and not a moment too soon. As you can tell, there's a pregnant air of expectation. The audience, the students waiting for the faculty artists who will arrive on the stage any moment for a concert that comprises first music by Mozart and then Fazl Say. Then we have the interval, and in the interval, I'll be chatting to Titus Underwood, the oboist, who is making his SICMF debut this year, and then a very romantic, lush, passionate work, César Franck's piano quintet, in the second half this evening. So after some much larger works and, shall we say, lots of moving parts in last night's faculty concert, especially with the wonderful dancers on the stage, more conventional chamber territory and forces this evening, if you like. A very warm welcome to you from wherever you may be joining us. Please pop in the chat who you are, what you're most looking forward to, where you're listening from. It's always really nice to hear from you. The lights have dimmed in the hall. The door to the right of the stage has opened, and any moment we will welcome our musical celebrities onto the stage. And here they come. This work by Mozart unfolds in 3 movements: a slow introduction, and then a fast first movement, a larghetto middle movement, and a quick allegretto finale. And enjoy the combination of these instruments, the winds with the piano together, a work Mozart was very proud of, that he famously wrote to his father, "I myself consider it the best thing I have yet written." Mozart's Quintet for Piano and Winds, KV 452, coming to you live from the Endler Hall as part of the 2026 Stellenbosch International Chamber Music Festival. Ending with a flourish there. Timeless elegance. Mozart. Who else? The Quintet for Piano and Winds, KV 452. The introduction, in many ways, of the wind instruments at this year's SICMF, last night being a very string-heavy faculty concert, if you like. And there we see Titus Underwood, oboist, making his SICMF debut this year. Then Yao Guang Chai, clarinet, a great friend of this festival, Yule Hargindi, bassoon, and Jose Garcia Gutierrez, whom we also know well, and of course, playing here on home territory, Peter Grobler on the piano, and ably assisted by Teresa Page Turner. but very, very nice. Perfect evening music, if you like. A little night music. Yes, we know Mozart famously wrote that and the Sondheim musical that's on at Theatre on the Bay at the moment. But something about wind instruments just evokes serenades and playing in a garden on some large estate to a very well-to-do audience. Maybe that's how people here in the Endler feel this evening. The second faculty concert of the SICMF coming to you live. Thank you for joining us. Henny rearranging the stage because we are now reducing in forces from a piano quintet to a piano trio, a work by Fazıl Say, the Turkish pianist and composer, and this will be the South African premiere of that work. Daniel Rowland and Maya Bogdanovic, violin and cello respectively, and then our artistic director of this festival, Nina Schumann, will be the pianist in this next performance. So the title of this next work by Fazıl Say is Space Jump. It was written in 2013, and you may have heard of his music before. He's built a global reputation, has Say as a brilliant concert pianist and as a composer. He was deeply fascinated by this feat. In 2012, Felix Baumgartner set several records with a parachute jump from the edge of space, and so that gives this piece its title, Space Jump. This piece was commissioned for the ARD International Music Competition, and it charts through music every phase of the plunge. At some point, he clocked Mach 1.25, so that's 1,300 kilometers an hour during the course of this 39-kilometer skydive. Let's hope that the demands are not quite that great on our musicians this evening. But there you see them on stage, Nina, Daniel, and Maya. Very nicely color coordinated as well. And here now, the South African premiere of Space Jump by Fazıl Say, coming to you live from the Endler as part of the second faculty concert of the 2026 Stellenbosch International Chamber Music Festival. The work's in 3 movements: Andantino meditativo, allegro maestoso, so a faster middle movement, and then maestoso, a majestic finale.
Ladies and gentlemen, this piece we're going to play for you now is a South African premiere of Space Jump by the really great Turkish composer-pianist Fazıl Say. His music is always incredibly colorful and rhythmic and full of really greatest originality. I want to read you the preface of this piece and then a couple of the indications that he writes in the score to show you how I was really. Let me read you his words. So Fazıl writes, in October 2012, the extreme sportsman Felix Baumgartner undertook a parachute jump from the stratosphere. This unique and spectacular event inspired me to compose my piano trio, Space Jump. We look down from the space capsule to Earth at a distance of 39 kilometers. The parachute's body is suffused with nervous tension. In the moment prior to the jump, we see how he breaks the sound barrier with incredible speed. I imagine him moving as fast as the speed of light. And finally, the triumph of the successful landing with the feeling of victory and utter joy. And of course, now we know that Baumgartner, in fact, I think 1 or 2 years ago, died during one of his stunts. So he really pushed the limits of what a person could do. The writings in the score are really beautiful. Like at the beginning, he writes, "The blue planet, the Earth, is visible from 39 kilometers high above and is stunningly beautiful." And actually, the reason we thought about programming this, or we suggested it to Nina, who then loved the piece as much as we did, was of course the Artemis mission just recently, where we saw these images of the Earth from from outer space, where Earth did look like a kind of safe haven. And I think the idea is to keep it that way. But then other things he writes, for example, Felix getting ready inside the space capsule, a moment of anxiety, finding himself in deep thoughts while gazing at planet Earth from a distance. Memories and people, the world, living things, blue waters. So very evocative. And the first movement is this kind of dreamy preparation. The second movement is the whirlwind space jump itself, with the ecstatic happiness of being alive at the end of it. Enjoy. Sorry, I hope I gave it to you correctly. Sorry, is it okay? Sorry, yeah.
as Daniel promised us just before the performance, a very evocative work by Fazil Sai, the South African premiere of his Space Jump. They're performed by Daniel Rowland, Maya Bogdanovic, Nina Schumann, across 3 movements. This incredible feat of parachuting from many dozens of kilometers above the Earth's surface, and then all the wonder and awe that beholding the Earth from such a distance feels like the sort of life-endangering feat of actually taking that jump, all conveyed in that music by the Turkish composer Fazil Say. And at times, as you heard, demanding extraordinary virtuosity, at other times patience and control and restraint. And that's one of the beautiful things of this festival, is being able to hear a work like that was composed just 13 years ago. In 2013, that work was written with music that had been composed 200 and something years ago by Mozart, side by side on the same stage. Well, as I mentioned a bit earlier, I'm heading outside now to chat to our faculty oboist, Titus Underwood. So grab a drink and join me again in 2 minutes for some insights into the life of an oboe player. A fascinating pairing there of music in the first half of tonight's faculty concert, Space Jump by Fazl Say, and before that Mozart's Quintet for Piano and Winds that featured my guest this evening, one of the newest members of our SICMF faculty, or family is the word that keeps coming up, although audiences around the world will already know him as one of today's leading oboists. Titus Underwood is Principal Oboe of the Nashville Symphony Orchestra and also was awarded the prestigious Sphinx Medal of Excellence in 2021. Titus, thanks for making time to join me here.
Thank you for having me.
Nina's forced me, and rightly so, to prioritize all our first-time faculty members here. And thank you for being game straight after your Mozart as well. Maybe we can use that as the launch point for this conversation.
Let's use that momentum. Yeah.
Have you played that piece before?
I have. I haven't played it since probably over 10 years ago, but it brings back so many memories, the energy in it, the innocence in it, the playfulness about it.
Yeah.
The mournful second movement, but yet so heartfelt. It's such a beautiful music. I mean, Mozart, it's always fun to play with such great colleagues. So
I mentioned it. I mean, there's something about winds as well that kind of gives this evening serenade feeling, and sort of there's some sort of grandeur to it.
Yes.
And the character, all those colors,
yes,
they work so well. I mean, what is it about the timeless elegance of Mozart or something that it really, of all the composers, I mean, he's one of the greats. What is it about his music that transcends so much?
I think Mozart's music transcends because it speaks to the inner child in all of us. It really brings that out. It also, it's not that he doesn't lean on the weightiness of life at times, but he knows how to have laughter and levity. That's the beauty of it. He knows how to play off of those two things so well, right? As I have a 2-year-old kid, and he can go from screaming to laughter. And like, Mozart knows how to pick that up and turn it into brilliance and elegance and an extended piece of expressive work. So I think that's why he knows how to really get into that inner child of one of us, each one of us.
I mean, there's that famous play, of course, Amadeus, about Mozart, in which he's depicted as such a playful, sort of comic character. And then, as you say, there's obviously also the gravitas and one things with the Requiem and that sort of thing. Do you think he was like that?
Yes, I think he was a very serious thinking person, but he's kind of like a comic, you know. You know, comics can tell truth that could be very stinging, but you're laughing.
Yeah.
And Mozart has that timing, that comedic timing, but it doesn't mean that it's not serious or it's not deep and thoughtful. It just means that he wraps this kind of like a human experience within levity and brilliance and lightness to have you have optimism throughout all of these hardships that we can go through. He keeps the optimism always there. And that's the beauty of him.
And do you think that's something we should keep in mind across perhaps all composers' eras? If one thinks of a big, I don't know, Mahler symphony, for example, should one kind of keep a slight playfulness, tongue-in-cheek, always at the back, not to take the music too seriously?
I think in general it should be that way, but Mahler is very serious, you know?
That's why I mentioned him as
Mahler
an antithesis.
If it keeps getting more serious and more serious, and when you thought it wasn't going to get any more serious, he says, let's do a repeat, and let's do that seriousness again. So, I mean, I do think that Mozart particularly is great at giving that levity. Not saying that Mahler can't give that levity, but Mahler's much heavier. Mahler is...
I mean, I'm thinking of the students here, because we've got the first symphony coming up later this week.
Oh, it's amazing.
And I'm just wondering, perhaps in your interactions with the students in your coaching class, and that, is this the kind of conversation you might have with them?
Of course. You want to always have joy with all the music that you're playing. I mean, it's a privilege for us to make sound together, to make Mozart together, to make Mahler together, to have our sounds come together to create one moving organism. And that's something that I want all the students to keep in mind. Tell them to, as deep as they feel, put that through the instrument. And don't take yourself too seriously, because we criticize ourselves a lot as musicians, which is good for the practice room, but when it's time to perform, let's play. We literally play music. So even the word that we use, let's play.
Exactly, and I've often felt that myself, but it is hard, because it's a very vulnerable thing you're doing, putting yourself on a stage, bearing your soul. Life experience must play a lot into this as well, perhaps as one moves through life and experiences the full range of life's possibilities and emotions. Perhaps there's even more than one can invest in the music, perhaps.
I think that, like, I mean, music express is so cliche. Music expresses beyond words, right? Harmony is felt, and there's nothing you can do about that. When the harmony is played and you're in its presence, you will feel it.
Yeah.
And but words you can kind of la 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 la, but when music and that vibration is going through your body, there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. And that's the beauty of music. That's why we're here. Yeah.
So speaking of here and the SICMF, is this your first time in South Africa?
My first time in South Africa.
So lots of firsts here.
Yes.
First time at the SICMF.
Yes.
And what have your impressions been over the past couple of days?
Yeah.
Is there that kind of appetite, that enthusiasm, that voraciousness from the students just to want to get the most out of this experience?
Absolutely. The students are so enthusiastic. They come with passion. They're eager to learn. They're eager to participate. They're eager to play with one another. They have so much grit because they play such long days, you know. And I remember I was talking to Damari, who's very close. He's a veteran here and a very close friend of mine. When I got here, he was like, it's winter time. I came from Tennessee and it was 100-something degrees. And I got here and I thought I was in London the first day I got here. It was raining so much. But then the sun was out today and it was so beautiful. But you know, the students, I love working with students. I love teaching and I love giving what I have to them, you know. And I learn from them as well because we need that back and forth. We need that energy. It's truly an exchange. And I love that about this. It's a family here. I love them. I feel so welcome here. And there's so much love in the air and just camaraderie and wanting to collaborate, and I love the spirit of the festival.
And this whole model of the festival, this balance between the teaching and the performing and the interactions with one another and with the faculty artists, is that quite unusual, or is that the way chamber music festivals are done around the world? For those of us who maybe don't know anything other than the Stellenbosch Festival.
I think here is particularly special because you have great wine here. No, but it is particularly special because there is a sense of family here. And you can tell that people really love being here. And there's a lot of love in long-term relationships and care. And that's what makes this place particularly special.
I mean, you joke about the wine, but in a way, perhaps the disinhibiting properties of alcohol probably do help to facilitate that relationship building, because time here is very limited. As you know, there's a lot to do in a very little time. And music is hard work. I mean, you've mentioned the play and keeping that kind of joyful spontaneity and tentativeness about everything one is doing to the music. But then there's also a time one needs to now settle down and commit to an interpretation or a way of doing things. And perhaps the wine can help sort of
it does help. I mean,
facilitate that.
Absolutely. And we take our craft very seriously, you know. I mean, art is a serious thing. I mean, it's a powerful thing. It's a transcendent thing. We were talking about Mozart. Could you imagine? Mozart didn't even know what a video camera was, but here we are sitting online talking about Mozart. That's the brilliance of this music. It truly transcends time. And and the wine helps.
So now back to Mozart and the oboe, your instrument. And you'll have to forgive me for the question because we know Mozart was very involved or interested in the development of the clarinet. But has the oboe changed very much since Mozart's time?
Yes, it has changed a lot. When Mozart was writing, especially the Mozart Oboe Quartet, there's about 3-4 keys on the oboe. I mean, now we have a lot more keys than that. And the Mozart Oboe Quartet went up to a high F, you know, in the ledger lines, and that was very virtuosic for its time. So Mozart did extend what the oboe was capable of doing. You know, we really say that the Mozart Oboe Quartet is truly like our oboe concerto. Because the oboe concerto is also in D for the flute. Yes, he was very invested in the clarinet for sure. However, in the operas, Mozart really gives the oboe those transcendent melodies that are at the turning point of an opera, or when something very pivotal is about to happen that we all been waiting for.
It's the oboe.
Absolutely.
Has the sound quality of the instrument changed much since
Mozart's
my
God,
time?
yes.
Like chalk and cheese.
I mean, the oboe was a little quacky before. Very. Now it's this warm, lush, beautiful
As
sound.
As we heard, indeed.
And before we could peel paint off walls, you know? So we was trying to get a more dolce quality. And in Mozart's melodies, you can tell that that's what he envisioned. It was something more vocal and singing rather than
so
quack.
he was really a visionary in a way. He was imagining what the oboe could be. And then, as you say, that vocal quality as well, because I guess all the best melodies, in a way, one wants to imagine what they would be like sung almost. And then as an instrument, one, in some ways maybe, is sort of not imitating the human voice,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
imagining
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely. Of course. I mean, really, I mean, we always sing our parts because I say the oboe is the voice I chose, and the voice I have is the voice I was given. And I'm always trying to merge the distance between those two, where we're in sync, and that's my full expression. It's an extension of myself.
Yeah.
And I truly think that the best composers, of course, Mozart being one of the greats, is capable of envisioning the instrument being a vocalist.
Yes.
But with the timbre he chooses to put within the texture of a particular piece.
Yeah.
So I truly think that Mozart really extended what we can do vocally on the instrument. Absolutely.
So you've mentioned the oboe as the voice you chose.
Yes.
Quick backstory there.
My backstory's pretty quick. My sister played violin. She said, "You're weird, you should play the oboe." There's my story. She showed me Brahms Violin Concerto, second movement, beautiful oboe solo. I fell in love with the sound.
Really?
I've been playing it ever since.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And your life as a principal oboist, what does that involve?
Oh man, lots of reads. I make lots of reads.
Uh-huh.
I have to, I have to lead generously. I have to, have the standard be set. And everyone sets the standard, but we're all links in the chain, and I don't want to let down my colleagues or my teammates. We don't want to always bring our best. It's the hot chair. I have to give the tuning A.
Indeed. How do you feel? What is that like? Because that's really the beginning of the symphonic experience.
Yes,
isn't
it's
it?
the tuning A.
Yes.
We practiced many, many years to give a beautiful Dolce A. I'm not saying I don't get a little nervous each time. I mean, every time, every A is fresh.
Yeah.
So it's straight out the oven. But each time you just
And you
gotta
can hear
make
it
sure-
right here. It's there.
Of course, it's always there. And
Yeah.
everyone's listening.
Yeah.
Because everyone has to tune to it. So they're really listening.
Yeah.
So I'm so used to it at this point, but it always I'm always a little bit on edge when I give it. But that's the beauty of it.
Pitches, frequencies, hertz. I noticed something. We've got a faculty WhatsApp group. Peter was mentioning the piano tune, especially to 441.
Yes.
And why was that? And why?
Yes. So, especially for oboes, I can't pull out the reed. I can't push it in. The tone, the pitch is set based
Right.
on how I made the reed.
Yes.
So, and all the other instruments have been playing scales and long tones according to the calibration, which is 441, in which the oboe is set to.
Yes, indeed.
So it kind of all revolves around that. So the piano, it's got to follow suit.
So really thinking of the conductor as the ringleader of the orchestra in some ways is
They don't make
diverting from
sound.
the truth. Yeah, exactly. And yes. Yeah. Fantastic. Titus, thank you for these incredible
Thank you.
insights you shared with us. What are you most looking forward to over the rest of the festival? Any particular work to listen to or to perform yourself?
Go see the Mahler,
Yeah.
Go see the Mahler. All the chamber music that's being played, all the new music. One of the oboists here wrote a beautiful, beautiful work that we'll be playing. Owen Dalton, really beautiful
Indeed,
work.
Monday
just
evening,
gorgeous.
yes.
So go hear all of that. Just go hear all the music. There's so much great music here, and it's like a marathon. Enjoy it all.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to just spending more time here and seeing the beautiful mountains and
Drinking some wine.
Drinking some
Hoping
wine.
for the weather does look better this week, so there might be some chance to escape
there'll be some-
briefly.
there'll be some
But yeah,
chance.
the magic of being able to combine the Mozart with the sigh that we just
Yeah.
heard, and now lush, romantic Franck. That's gonna be a real treat.
Yes, of
So
course, absolutely.
it's a real privilege to have you here. Thank you for making time
Thank you.
to share with us. In a few moments, we're going to head inside the Endler Hall for Franck's magnificent piano quintet, a work born of intense emotion. So while we head inside, please enjoy these photographic highlights from the first day or two of this year's SICMF. Thank you, Titus. And we're back inside the Endler Hall, the second half of the second faculty concert, 2026 SICMF, coming to you live here in Stellenbosch, Saturday, the 4th of July, 2026. America's 250th birthday, is it, I think, today? But now to music from France, from the Romantic era, by César Franck. So he lived from 1822 to 1890. And he spent much of his life working as an organist and teacher in Paris. He was known for his brilliant improvisations. But then he had this late career compositional surge in the 1870s that resulted in several masterpieces that cemented his reputation as one of France's great romantic composers. And so among these later works of his is this monumental piano quintet that we hear now. Now, this work was completed in 1879, and it's written here in these excellent program notes by Barry Ross in our festival programs. The quintet is a tumultuous affair, written in the midst of an intense infatuation with one of his younger female students. Typical of the later Franck, he sought to arrest and contain the sensuous chromaticism that he picked up from Wagner and Liszt. And to this end, he employs the favored tool of the Romantics, thematic organicism. Gosh, what an expression. So this work is in 3 movements, molto moderato, quasi lento, so a slowish introduction, then a faster main body of the first movement, allegro. Then a slower second movement, lento, but with much sentimentality he asks for. And then such a typically romantic description of this final movement, allegro non troppo, ma con fuoco, fast, but not too fast, but with fire. And again, we have quite a star-studded lineup of faculty artists playing this work. Micklin Laipang will be leading it together with Siwoo Kim, Zandi van Dijk, viola, Boris Adrianov, cello, and Nina Schumann, piano. I mentioned a little bit earlier that Saint-Saëns was not impressed with this work. The work was dedicated to Saint-Saëns, and it's written here in the program notes, the endless chromaticism of the work found no fan in Saint-Saëns. He was revolted by the excesses of the piece, so much so that he left the sheet music open on the piano at the conclusion of the 1880 premiere, an overt signal that he couldn't even stand to take the score home with him. The reaction of audiences and critics differed considerably, and the quintet is now considered a central work in the chamber repertoire. So funny how history has a way of smoothing things out over time. But yeah, I'm an enormous Saint-Saëns fan. He was such a polymath, of course, not just a performer and composer, but also a music critic, advocate of music, a great traveler. He was interested in astronomy and archaeology. And so it's interesting that he was less tolerant, despite these very wide-ranging interests. Interesting that he was less tolerant of this work. I mentioned earlier this thematic organicism. So that means that in this piece, there's this use and development of a single expressive theme across all 3 of the movements. And it says here that it's quite possible that this piano quintet contains more pianissimo and fortissimo dynamic markings, PPP and FFF respectively, than any other chamber work in the Romantic repertoire. So listen out for that specifically tonight. The very softs and the very louds together. And here comes our artistic director, Nina Schumann, Micklin, Siwoo, Boris, Zandi, Teresa, a very busy page turner this evening. Thank you, Teresa. Your sacrifices are appreciated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for this cornerstone of the Romantic chamber repertoire, the piano quintet, unfolding in 3 movements by César Franck, coming to you live from the Endler Hall, the 2026 Stellenbosch International Chamber Music Festival, the second half of the second faculty concert. Like a three-course meal, the music of César Franck, his monumental piano quintet there in 3 movements, performed by faculty members Micklin Lai Pang and Siwoo Kim, Zandy van Dijk, Boris Adrianov, and Nina Schumann. I mean, Franck's music is fantastically passionate. One thinks of his great symphony, his violin sonata. Let's hope we get to hear that at an SICMF soon. The work's been described, I was just reading on Wikipedia in those closing moments, as having a torrid emotional power. Edward Lalo famously calling it an explosion. And someone else called it a piece that was unctuously narcissistic. How about that? But an Endler Hall on its feet for our 5 musicians this evening performing that piano quintet by César Franck, coming to you live from the Endler Hall here at the 2026 SICMF and bringing to a close this year's 2nd faculty concert, which means that it's almost time for me and for us to say goodbye. And so another evening of chamber music magic comes to an end here at the Stellenbosch International Chamber Music Festival. Tonight's program took us from the classical elegance of Mozart through the contemporary imagination of Fazl Say's Space Jump to the emotional intensity of César Franck's great piano quintet. And this festival continues tomorrow with another full day of activities here at the Stellenbosch Conservatorium, including performances by the Dutch Viola Ensemble and mixed student ensembles, as well as another public masterclass with faculty oboist Titus Underwood, with whom I spoke earlier. And tomorrow evening's 3rd faculty concert promises to be another extraordinary musical journey. We begin with Gareth Wood's festive Tientos y Danzas for brass ensemble, continue with Mendelssohn's youthful and exuberant string quintet in A, and conclude with Bartók's sonata for 2 pianos and percussion. And so thank you once again for joining us this evening, whether you're watching from around the corner here in Stellenbosch or maybe from somewhere else entirely around the globe. Please do continue to engage with us online. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We always enjoy hearing from our extended international SICMF family. And so on behalf of the production team here at the Endler, this is John Woodland wishing you a very good night. See you tomorrow for another day of chamber music magic.